Tampa Bay, the site of the first ever home game for a Super Bowl. That's right, the Buccaneers at home going to try and do what nobody's ever done. But in order to do it, they will have to stop the Chiefs from doing something we perceive to be equally impossible, repeating as Super Bowl champions. Who knew we'd ever get here? We are here now, and we are ready for the chaos. It's the Pizza Hut Playoff Tailgate Show. Mike Golic Jr., Jason Fitz, that's right, playoff tailgate delivered by Pizza Hut. You see the boxes. The pizza's ready. The breadsticks are awesome. The pasta's all we can eat. Mike, we're here on the ESPN app, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook, everywhere to get everybody ready for the big game and to snack our way through it.
I can't believe that you described anything as impossible in a world where the big box, A, exists, and B, we're hosting a Super Bowl in a stadium that's got a pirate ship in it. All things are possible through the pirate ship who strengthens us.
Yeah, well, let's remember the last time that, I'm going to be fully transparent here, the last time that the Buccaneers were in a Super Bowl was not a good day for me as a lifelong diehard Raiders fan. So this is a interesting Super Bowl, Mike, as I can choose to either root for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, which is not going to happen in my book, or I can root for Tom Brady, who has still never admitted that it was a fumble and there's no such thing as a tuck. I'm either way, I'm done.
We are 30 seconds into this show, and Fitz is already triggered on behalf of his Raiders fandom. So this bodes well. I want to really turn this into therapy and explore a lifetime of your pain at the hands of both the player and the teams in this Super Bowl. It's going to be great.
You never forget when you wake up and find out that your favorite team's finally in the Super Bowl and their starting center that's such an important part and has gone AWOL. Like, these are the things you remember.
All right, I was kidding about the therapy thing. You got to pay for that here.
Okay.
This is, all right?
Oh,
I'm not getting paid nearly enough to sit here and do this with you.
Wow,
right
that's
now.
the sort of friendship we bring to you here. Mike Golic Jr., Jason Fitz. Again, we're in the ESPN app, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook, everywhere socially. We'll be hanging out with you. Mike, we're going to bring a little energy right to the top of this with a Super Bowl blitz. So we're going to do this with the clock. We're going to put 45 seconds on the clock, and we're going to be able to get whatever we want off our chest. Are you ready for this?
Let's get after it, man. I'm actually feeling pretty strong about this one. You going to start this off?
I'm going to start this off. So let's throw 45 seconds up on the clock, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Deshaun Watson. I'm just going to go. Whether they away, I go. Here we go. Deshaun Watson has been railed by people like Brett Favre and Dick Vermeil, and it is ridiculous. At some point, you got to look at Deshaun Watson and ask, has he ever let the Texans down? The answer is no. All he's done is everything you could ever ask of an elite franchise quarterback that defines a generation of fandom. Have the Texans let him down? Repeatedly. So maybe finally, it's time for bad teams to realize that accountability can exist. There are very few players in the NFL that have the power to say, I won't play here. Deshaun is one of them. If he does this, if he actually cuts the Texans the same way the team would cut him if he was underperforming at any level, it sends a message to every single bad franchise, not up in here. You're going to be good or I'm going to play somewhere else. I want this for the sake of the NFL and for the sake of teams everywhere that waste generational talent. That's my 45 seconds.
And listen, 45 seconds well spent here. I struggle to see that. I know most of the people you saw mentioned there criticizing him were conspicuously absent from the conversation around Carson Wentz. So we know how this goes sometimes.
Yeah, or Carson Palmer, who years ago just decided he wasn't going to play, and everybody was cool with it. All right, Mike, you ready to get it off your chest?
Yeah, I got 45 seconds here. They told me I could do this about whatever I want.
Yeah, it's whatever you want it to be. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
And away he goes.
And I'm sick and tired of talking about sports here. This is a Disney platform, and so I'm going to use that time right now. WandaVision's been on Disney Plus right now. Jason, you and I did the draft show down in Nashville when the last installment of Avengers Endgame was coming out here. We had about 4 hours of free time that whole week, and I used those 4 hours to watch that movie because I trusted the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Shame on any of you who 2 episodes into WandaVision, because it was mimicking 60s and 70s sitcoms, suddenly felt lost and abandoned ship and said you couldn't stick around for the payoff that we've gotten later on here. Shame on you. The last decade of my life has been defined by, as much as anything else, the MCU's ever-present place in my life and the trust it should have more than earned by now.
That was beautifully said, and I'm going to be honest, Mike. There are moments that test our friendship. Usually it's my hot takes on food. So I say this with a little bit of caution. I don't even know what WandaVision's about.
Jason?
I have no idea.
Like most days in my life, if it were practical social distance-wise and if HR wasn't a thing that existed, I would be over there choking you right now.
I know the Funkos they make for it look pretty cool. Like that does that count as some sort of knowledge on the so I should check it out?
You probably need to navigate us to the next thing that we are going to go to. You saw how angry I was at people that aren't in the room here.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I do value my health and safety. So we'll keep it going. It's the playoff tailgate delivered by Pizza Hut, Mike Golic Jr., Jason Fitz. And we're going to have a little bit of fun. Over the course of this show, we're going to give you some expertise. We got great guests like Mina Kimes going to join us. We'll get her to break everything down. Backstreet Boy, Bucs superfan Nick Carter going to join us. We'll get him to break down what he thinks of the game. We got a lot coming on. The Bet guy's going to help us out. But first, let's put you on the spot. You ready for this?
Oh, God, what do you have?
Well, we got GOAT facts. Look, a lot of debates this week about GOATs, right? Like the GOAT, Tom Brady, is he the GOAT of all sports? And now, is it baby GOAT for Patrick Mahomes? Like, we've had all this GOAT conversation.
Baby GOAT, do, baby GOAT,
I'm not even mad at it.
Come on.
It feels like that's a good little jingle. All right, so this is new. This is all for you, GOAT facts. And here are the rules. I'll read a GOAT fact. You got to decide if it's a fact about the GOAT, Tom Brady, future GOAT, Patrick Mahomes, or just a straight-up fact about goats.
Actual goats.
Actual real life.
Right. That's fair. That's
I don't
fair.
know if that's a goat impersonation or not.
You know what? It plays here because I am not 100% sure myself.
I should have just stayed confident. All right, fact number one. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
This goat has a very particular diet that's vegetarian. In some instances, this diet includes eating tree bark.
I don't think the TB12 method has yet ventured into bark, so I'm going to say this is actual goats.
And the answer is actual GOAT. Mike is 1 for 1 so far. Good work by you.
There was still part of me that thought it was going to be Tom Brady.
I saw a great article last week about somebody that tried to eat TB12 for a week, and he made it less than a day before he started cheating on it. So, you know, it takes its own, but no tree bark. You're right. All right, fact number two. Not known to be fashion forward, this GOAT can be seen wearing cashmere all year round.
I'm going to say this one's Tom Brady. I mean, he's known to be fashion forward, but cashmere still seems like something he might do.
Cashmere all year round is not Tom Brady. It is, in fact, a goat.
Oh, really?
Because goats, what is that, fur? Like
I was going to say, what, is there fur cashmere?
Yes, that's what cashmere apparently is made of.
Wow, I had no idea. I thought this goat was wealthy.
In fairness, the sheet here says goat, so that's really all I know. I'm not Alex Trebek. I'm more on the Anchorman side of it. All right, so cashmere does come from goats. There we go.
No clue.
Side note,
I don't
totally
wear a lot of
unrelated.
cashmere. I'm fat.
Maybe we get you like a little goat pen in the backyard of Mike Golic Jr.'s house. And
I would love goats out on cashmere. Way too hot.
Well, but we could start selling back like a food truck. Okay, answer number three, or fact number three, I don't know, Mike. While dominating football comes naturally to this GOAT, he had the opportunity to be signed by the Montreal Expos before becoming an NFL pro.
So this one is going to probably throw a lot of people off because I think they're going to assume Patrick Mahomes, his father's major league background, get thrown off by that. This is Tom Brady, the GOAT.
You are correct. And the other dead giveaway should have been the Montreal Expos because that is
I was going to say also fair. That would not have been a thing around in Patrick Mahomes' lifetime, and I apparently am an idiot.
Yeah, well, that is, you're right. Fact number four. I don't have the answer to in the sheet, so we're just going to guess on this one. With one of the longest recorded jumps, this GOAT can leap 12 feet in a single bound.
I'm trying to think about what Mahomes' broad jump would have been. This has got to be just a regular GOAT.
Yeah,
right?
I think they didn't put it in the sheet because even I'm not stupid enough to know. There's got to be a GOAT, right? This is a GOAT.
That's a GOAT. That's a GOAT.
Look at that. All right, fact number five. So
12-foot
far,
broad jump would have been money.
You've only missed one, Mike. We're really impressed with your GOAT knowledge. Fact number five. Which mammal averages 2.2 kids per year? Is it A, a goat, B, a monkey, C, Phillip Rivers?
You guys are foul for that, by the way. I saw that one in there, man. Like, I didn't take the time to do the math, but I don't think it comes out to that. That would be pretty difficult for Phillip Rivers, human father, for that to go on here. So I'm gonna go with actual GOAT here again.
Yeah, well, that is correct. It's an actual GOAT.
Dang.
Fun fact: I think Rivers is actually probably higher at this point. Fact number six: which GOAT leads the league in NFL merch sales this year? This one's tough.
You know what? I'm gonna say Tom Brady just because he changed teams.
You would think that would be the answer, but it is, in fact,
actual GOAT.
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, okay.
It is Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, there's not enough cashmere available for sale in the NFL for actual GOAT to win. But yes, Mahomes outsold. Although Brady has been picking it up over the playoff run, Mahomes actually outsold him through the course of the year. And we got one more for you. Ready for this? Fact number seven. This GOAT has been known for taking unexpected naps, at times in the most inconvenient of places.
That's got to be actual GOATs again. Aren't they the ones that you can, like, scare and they'll pass out?
Well, that might be true. I don't have enough knowledge to know, but the document here tells me that the answer is actually Tom Brady prior to kickoff of Super Bowl 36. Quick work on me for the Roman numerals. Brady navigated this elongated pregame by taking a short nap in the locker room. Quote, 12 minutes later, we were running out onto the field. I could see, like, you seem like the type that can power nap for 12 minutes and then sprint out onto the field.
Big time power nap. Shout out to the guys over at the Solid Verbal. Coffee nap. Shotgun a coffee right before your nap. Go down for about 20 minutes. Come out ready to go.
Wow. See, I'm not a napper. I feel like a 20-minute nap only makes me more tired. I've never been the guy that excels at naps.
I used to do radio at 4 a.m. Eastern, so you had to get good at naps.
Now, I will say you did spectacularly well, unexpectedly well. If I had a prize, I would give it to you. We don't have prizes on here.
Figure that wasn't in the budget.
You know, but I'll try and find you like a baby goat that you can have, a real one that we could raise together as a family, and then we could start to. No? Okay, I've made it awkward for you.
No goats will ever be our goats.
We're just getting started with this show. Let's have some technology fun now. No better way to celebrate the Super Bowl than by looking back at some of the best moments with super throwbacks delivered by Pizza Hut, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to give you our top 5 moments. Now, they told us it could be anything, so not surprising to anybody. I'm going to go with mostly pop culture. I'll go first here. I'll give you my top 5 moments that we can take a look at. At number 5 for my top 5 moments in Super Bowl history, we're going with a little bit of love for Whitney Houston, the national anthem. I don't know if you guys saw the Jeremy Schaap feature on it today on ESPN, but oh my God. I mean, she took you to church. It wasn't about her. It wasn't about anything other than this moment where she was in it and she was celebrating our country. And by the way, singers, take note. She went for the high note and did it effortlessly. She worried about the rest of the song being so spectacular. It is a clinic on how to do the anthem. At number 4 on my list. Now, this one is going to look a little surprising. I'm putting the Bears up there. Now, not talking about regular Bears. Everybody knows I'm a Raiders fan. I'm talking about dancing Bears, because if you're my age,
Care Bears.
No, not maybe gummy bears. But if you're my age, you remember the entire Super Bowl shuffle. Like, there was a moment where the Bears made football so cool to a kid like me that I wanted more NFL in my life because of it. It doesn't matter about the Super Bowl blowout. I care about, the fridge dancing around. I like big boys that dance. At number 3 on that. Number 3 on my list, that's right. We all remember one of the strangest moments in Super Bowl history, and that strange moment would be the Super Bowl power outage that we all got in New Orleans. I was there. It's my first Super Bowl I got to be around. Wasn't able to go to the game. I couldn't buy tickets, but media days, I got to hang out. I couldn't believe it was real. When everybody said the power was out in the Super Bowl, you feel like that's impossible. You feel like it can never happen. It did. We'll remember it forever. And why do I feel like there's more generators now at Super Bowls? I'm just saying. Number 2 on my list, I said no plays. Well, one makes it in. That's right. Super Bowl 18, the 74-yard run we've all seen a million times. If you're my age and you grew up a Raiders fan, I've had to watch the tuck rule over and over again. I get to see the dang replay of the Bucs killing the Raiders in the Super Bowl over and over again. There's one replay. I don't really remember it from when I was a kid, but it brings me joy to know sometime in my lifetime my beloved Raiders won a Super Bowl.
I'm not going to lie. I tried to go to bat to see if I could make the exception and get an AFC Championship highlight and put the tuck rule in here just to upset you.
Yeah, AFC Championship game memory for me is 51-3. Thanks, Buffalo. Oh, it's been a hard life. At the top of the list, the moment I'll never forget, the greatest halftime show of all time. I don't care what you say. It's Prince. I was at Dave & Buster's in Nashville hanging out.
Of course you were.
Of course. Yeah, that's where else would you watch the Super Bowl? There were half the people were rooting for the Bears, half for the Colts. A lot of nasty language going at each other. They were not friendly early on in this game.
At a Dave & Buster's, again, shocking.
It's Tennessee. But in the meantime, everybody's going at each other. Suddenly you hit halftime, and Prince starts singing. And I look around as the rain is falling during Purple Rain, and I see people from different fandoms embracing, people celebrating each other, everybody singing along. Look at that smirk. He knows what he did. He gave us the ultimate performance. That's the best pop culture moment in Super Bowl.
You know what that is? That's the Game Blouse's face right there. That is straight up the source material for the Dave Chappelle sketch right in that moment.
He knows he's outdone what everybody can do, and you've said it a million times. Like, his best, just better, and he showed it. So that's my top 5, Mike.
All right, so we got Fitz's top 5 in there, which, good job, good effort, and all that stuff. We'll get a legitimate top 5 up here and try and help everyone out on this spot. So, all right, Number 5 for me, I'm going to go with an actual play. This one extremely memorable for me. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Super Bowl 43, James Harrison's 100-yard touchdown return. This game was memorable for me because I found out pregame for some reason as a dumb college kid that Lamar Woodley had followed me on Twitter, and I was enamored with that idea going into that Super Bowl, knowing the outside linebacker opposite James Harrison, one of the greater big boy plays in NFL history. He looked exhausted after that run. All right, number 4, keep it moving on this one. Recent but goodie. Got to go with Nick Foles, the Philly special on this.
Yeah.
I feel like 2017, certainly not that long ago, and Philadelphia, maybe depending on what reports you read about, interested in trying to run this one back. An unbelievably gutsy play for a team that had been such a great underdog story throughout that season. Love the Philly special. Love what it meant in that moment. Fitz, you brought up the halftime shows in here, and since you already took care of Prince, I want to go back since we're in Tampa to 2001.
Yes.
Unbelievable. NSYNC, Aerosmith, Britney Spears, Mary J. Blige, all on the set, and Nelly thrown in this one. I just remember being enamored with this many big-time acts from one era back in 2001, all gracing the same stage together.
I wish we had more of that because you could feel those acts respected the heck out of each other, right? Like you could feel everybody going for each other's music in it. Man, that is a special halftime performance. You're right.
Unbelievable. Always stuck out. Always resonated with me. The one thing I was surprised you didn't hit, Jason, was the commercials. So number 2.
Oh, that's a good call.
Office linebacker Terry Tate. To this day, I think it's my favorite commercial ever. My parents always said I was an advertiser's dream because I could remember every jingle, everything like that. But there was something so pure, kind of like the crack of a bat in a baseball game, with the sound of a linebacker absolutely decimating the population of a bunch of pencil pushers.
Just be honest, a moment amongst friends. How many times have you wanted to Office Terry Tate me as we are on campus at ESPN? Let's just be real.
Jason, it is the entire ethos of our friendship here, the constant underlying tension. And listen, much like the NFL, we have moved the game to a safer place. We've taken the head out of tackling, and so we won't see that in the office around here. But just know it's there, lurking, waiting, much like Terry Tate was. And now number 1. I don't think there's any debate on this one. David Tyree, the helmet catch. One of the most incredible plays I think you'll see in any sport, certainly in any football game, let alone it happening in one of the more unlikely Super Bowl victories of all time here. Eli Manning certainly gets a lot of credit, a Hall of Fame career built on being the Patriot killer in these moments, but David Tyree, that play, remarkable.
Can I confess something to you here?
Go ahead.
On that Super Bowl Sunday, I knew it was going to be a blowout in my mind, so I hadn't even watched most of the game. I turned that Super Bowl on, and it was right before that catch. So I watched about a minute and a half. It felt like the Super Bowl, and I saw the best minute and a half possible there. Also, curious to me about the NFL culture. We had an undefeated team, and the whole world was rooting for them to go down. We don't want the best champion. We want the best story at the end of the day.
It is amazing. Someone brought up the Patriots, for as long as they were dominant, never really caught on becoming that national brand people rooted for in that instance. I don't know why. Probably because the rest of Boston was busy winning everything throughout that era.
Yeah, well, how many people today are rooting for Tom Brady? I'm just saying. I do know one person that's rooting for Tom Brady, though. Mike mentioned NSYNC earlier. Why don't we give a little bit of love to the other side of that coin? Let's have a little Backstreet Boy time. All right, hanging out with Nick Carter. Nick, all right, let's start with tattoos. This is important, okay? You have a Bucs tattoo.
Yep.
I have a Raiders tattoo. It's actually the outline of the Raiders with the American flag in it from when I played the anthem for them. But I'll be honest, like for all my tattoos, I was really nervous about being like that guy that got my NFL team tattooed. Like, was there any caution for you in getting the Bucs permanently put on your body?
You know, honestly, it wasn't like, so it's basically, it's just a pirate ship, you know, and then I kind of like put in, you know, with all this other like oceans type of stuff. And I got it and I dedicated it to the Bucs. Obviously, I have gone through the ups, the downs. I've been through it all, and lived through those lows. So, you know, I'm proud. Yeah. I'm proud to wear that, have that tattoo, proud to be from Florida, from Tampa, and, you know, have us in the Super Bowl. So I'm happy about that.
So, and that brings me to my next question, because you're a lifelong diehard. So I've coined this phrase, you'll appreciate it, BSB fans, and that's Bucs since Brady. All right, that's the new fair weather, Bucs since Brady's fans. Where are you on all of the bandwagoners? Nice teddy bear too, dude. That's quality. Where are you on the bandwagoners?
Well, I think as far as the bandwagoners go, I'm tired of seeing on like my Instagram posts. It's like you're welcome for Brady. If it wasn't for Brady, you know, you wouldn't be in the Super Bowl. Listen, Tom, I'm sure went through tape. I'm sure he actually, watched film. I'm sure he did his due diligence on the team, and he said, listen, I can play with these guys. Why? Because there's talent there. And so to all the bandwagoners out there, enjoy the bandwagon.
There's an interesting parallel to me in life sometimes. Like Tampa Bay goes a long time between Super Bowls. Now they're back. And they when I talk to people around the organization and like what it feels like to be back, I'll make that parallel to Backstreet, because I think you guys did something really incredible with DNA. Like the record that came out hadn't had necessarily that commercial. You never stopped touring and crushing, but you hadn't had that commercial number one in a long time. So when you went back through that level of success, what was it like to live it a second time?
This is what it's all about. That's why I relate to Brady and to teams that are fighters, that are resilient, that try to find a way to survive, in whatever sport or music industry that you're in. I appreciate that, and that's kind of, it's so funny. I did an interview a long time ago, and I'm like, I feel like Backstreet Boys is sort of like the Tom Brady of music, like we're older and we still dance, and we were just on this whole world tour. We were selling 20,000 seats a night. Very grateful for where we were. But it takes work, and it takes thought process, and it takes time and dedication, not only to your craft, but, and also trying to find a way to just withstand the test of time. That's what it's all about. You just have to have resilience. And so, I tried to take a lot of the parallels from football and, relate them to our career. It was hitting the highs with the DNA World Tour and album.
Well, you're riding that high. 80s movie, your new single. Tell us about this has been a world of isolation. So now you took that isolation, put out a solo single. What you doing?
Yeah, so I was on The Masked Singer, and I placed third. I had an incredible time just performing, and had a great time, was able to share a little bit of my life story. And then I released a single, and that song was 80s movie. And it was just like a little fun little thing to kind of hold over our fans a little bit while we're waiting to hopefully get to that point where we can start performing and doing new music again. And so I might put out a couple more songs for our fans as well from a solo tip. So it's just really like, it's the whole package, the Backstreet Boys, the solo stuff, movies, anything that we could do to just keep our fan base super happy.
All right, so what's your prediction for the final? I know who you're taking in the game, but what's your prediction for the final score?
I thought about this, and I really believe it's going to be a back and forth game. I think offense is going to be back and forth. When I look at what the score will be, I just think it's going to come down to maybe like a field goal. I really do. I think a field goal is going to win the game. I will say this. I feel like there's something special and magical about this year with the Bucs. That's the fact that they're playing in, they're hosting the Super Bowl. This is home field advantage. Like, it just doesn't happen. And I just don't think that I truly don't think that they're going to lose this game. Todd Bowles' system is clicking right now. And one thing's for sure, they're going to have to pass the ball, because those linebackers and that D-line and Vita Vea being back, you're not running on us. It's not going to happen. So you better hope that Patrick Mahomes can make some magical throws. And I just don't see it happening against us.
Man, we appreciate your time. We appreciate the hang. Congrats on the continued success. Y'all are one of the best acts live. For not having a fiddle player, it's not bad. And always love hanging with you. But I'm going to bring the sleeping bag and just hang out at your place until I can hang out with Gruden. So we're good that way. Nick, we appreciate you hanging out, brother.
Love you, dog. Be safe, and go Bucs. Let's go. Woo!
Still trying to figure out a way to get, a fiddle player in the Backstreet Boys. It just makes sense.
I don't think it does. I think they're pretty good without one. But good job, good effort. The Stugatz are strong in it.
It was a good effort. Besides, we all know I don't have the abs to be a part of the Backstreet Boys. Okay, we know who Nick's going with in this game, obviously. So the question is, what are the bet guys telling us? We got Super Bowls to pick. We got prop bets. So let's throw to Vegas and see what kind of expertise they can give us.
Thanks, guys. Welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada. Alongside Tyler Fulgham, I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. Super Bowl 55 has finally arrived, so let's give the people what they want. Let's start with your favorite pick for the game.
Okay, for the game, I'm going to adopt the philosophy of my fellow single bachelor brethren, Doug Kazarian. Sometimes I just don't have the patience to wait, Joe Fortenbaugh. So I'm going to take the Chiefs minus a half-point first quarter spread. We just have to go back to Week 12 and look how the Chiefs absolutely blitzed Tampa Bay in that Week 12 matchup. And I see something similar happening here because Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, even with the offensive line issues, Patrick Mahomes back there chucking the pill, Andy Reid having an extra week to prepare, no telling what he came up with in the lab. And then on top of that, the most incredibly unbelievable trend that we've unearthed here, talking about Tom Brady in the Super Bowl this week, is that in the 9 Super Bowls Tom Brady has played in to this point, he has not one single time led his team on a touchdown drive in the first quarter.
Crazy.
I cannot believe that hasn't happened for one of the all-time greatest in the first quarter. Whatever the reason, I can't explain it. I don't know if that trend continues, but Brady's traditionally been a slow starter. Mahomes always a fast starter. So give me that first quarter spread minus half a point. The Chiefs just have to win that. That's my favorite way to tackle the game.
Unlike you, I do have patience. I have to have patience. I have 2 young kids. It's the only option you have on the board. I am going to play the Kansas City Chiefs minus the 3 in this game. Every question we had about them at the end of the season, why aren't they blowing everyone out? We saw it in the AFC Championship game. They fell down 9-0 to the Bills. They went on a 21-0 run in 10 minutes. Boom, they're back. That's the scenario. I can see them winning from every way imaginable. A shootout they cover, a lower scoring game they cover, from behind, out in front. Patrick Mahomes is one of the absolute best in the business when it comes to dissecting the blitz and getting the ball out of his hands. And Tampa ranks 5th in blitz rate this year, so they should be bringing the pressure. I can't get the image out of my mind of last year's Super Bowl. Kansas City down 10 with 7 minutes to play against an elite defense. Right. They still won by 11. It's as explosive as it gets. Now, for the prop market. Right. What do you got?
Okay, so I like the Chiefs to win this game.
Okay.
However, I don't want to tackle the spread because 3 for me is just too many points in the pocket of someone like Tom Brady. I also don't like the value of the money line. I got to lay 155 if the Chiefs win on the money line. I like better returns on my investment. I also love Travis Kelce. The guy's just been in God mode. He's been automatic.
Oh, yeah.
Every single game, it's 8 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. Not literally, but in the postseason, he's gone over 100 and caught a touchdown in both games. He's gone over 100 in 7 of his last 10 games. He's caught 8 passes in 9 of his last 10 games. The guy is just a walking bucket. Sorry to borrow the basketball phrase there. But again, I don't like the value on lane 175 for an anytime Kelce TD. So why don't I just cram these two together that likely have correlation? Kelce scores a touchdown, Chiefs win, doesn't matter the margin, plus 130 on my return, bada bing, bada boom.
Crafty thinking right there. For myself, Patrick Mahomes over 40.5 passing attempts. He averaged 39 passing attempts per game during the regular season, so we're not going to ask him to do a whole lot more here. But back to Week 12, he threw the ball 49 times against the Buccaneers, despite a 17-0 first quarter lead, despite a 20-7 halftime lead, despite a double-digit lead heading into the fourth quarter. Why does that matter? Look, if he's playing from behind, he's going to throw. If he's playing from in front, he's going to throw. Tampa Bay is one of the best defenses in the business, number 1 in opponent yards per carry. He's going to have to throw whether he likes it or not. $500 million right here. That's the investment.
The more he throws, the better chance my guy has of catching a touchdown as well, Travis Kelce.
Great minds think alike. That's Las Vegas. Good luck today, everyone. Back to Bristol.
Joe, Tyler, we appreciate the help. Obviously, great stuff. You want to put a little coin in your pocket going into the game tonight. But if you want to get smarter X's and O's wise, there is only one person I know to call here. So why don't we get a little help on that front from a friend of ours? Now excited to be joined by ESPN's NFL Live analyst and host of the Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny podcast. Mina Kimes with us here now. And Mina, I know you were down in Tampa. You have spent an entire week talking about the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pass rush. So I'm asking you, is there another matchup in this game that we've somehow missed in this big picture here that you're exceptionally excited about going into the Super Bowl today?
That's a good one because that is the most obvious matchup that, if you had to choose one thing that's going to decide the game, that would be it. I would say after that, on that side of the football, Travis Kelce versus whoever is tasked with defending Travis Kelce, whether it's quarterback like Carlton Davis or the linebackers Levante David and Devin White are matched up on him, which happened a lot in Week 12, or even the safeties. That's going to matter a lot because I suspect Todd Bowles, drawing on the lessons of that beatdown in the first quarter, is going to do his best to bracket Tyreek Hill and limit the damage he does over the top. When that happens to Kansas City, they tend to counter by going to Kelce quite frequently, whether it's off of RPOs, Mahomes' quick passing game, or when the play breaks down, Patrick has a way of finding Kelce, especially when defenses play zone. So to me, that's the biggest question. Can they stop Travis Kelce? Or stop's probably the wrong word. Can they limit Travis Kelce? Because if they can't, it's going to be a long, long game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
So, Mina, in your mind, which coordinator on either team has to have the most creative play calling day to actually create, to change the outcome of this game?
I think it's probably on both. I mean, realistically, any defensive coordinator playing Patrick Mahomes, it's like trying to solve an impossible math problem. It's just like, and we've done it all week, right? We've tried to come up with, okay, well, if you double hill, then who's on Kelce? Well, okay, if you don't blitz Mahomes, which we suspect they won't, and you've got more guys in coverage, what can they do? Who's going to stop the various other nightmare assortment of pass catchers the Chiefs have? I think Steve Spagnuolo versus Tom Brady is always a fascinating matchup. And now that I said that, I would say if I had to think of another matchup, perhaps Chris Jones against Aaron Stinney, the backup guard for Tampa, is another fascinating one. But the question to me isn't whether the Chiefs will blitz, it's how they'll blitz, who's going to get after Brady, and whether or not Bruce Arians, Byron Leftwich, and Tom Brady do a better job dealing with that pressure than they did the last time these two teams faced off.
And Mina, sticking with that Tampa Bay offense and Byron Leftwich, so much has been made of how they've changed down the stretch, really since this matchup in Week 12 of the regular season. What have you seen from the Bucs in the postseason that stuck out to you most offensively of why we're seeing this group at its best right now?
I say the Bucs offense in the last two games hasn't been super impressive. The defense has really set them up to succeed. They've scored so many points off of turnovers, to their credit, they capitalized on it. But the real stretch for the Bucs offense that you want to look to if you're a Bucs fan who has some hope for this game was more weeks 14 through 15 through the very end of the season. And we saw some adjustments during that period, at least since these teams played. The Bucs using more pre-snap motion to give Tom Brady the information he needs. By the way, that's something you saw in the last game when they used it more in the second half. The offense had more success because Brady had a better sense of what he was dealing with on defense. Getting those tight ends involved in the passing game more, and I think that'll be huge in this game because the Chiefs defense, excellent against wide receivers, has struggled to defend tight ends all year. And then Tom Brady's deep ball, of course, which again, more so weeks 14 through the first week of the playoffs. That's going to be huge in this game because he's playing a Kansas City defense that's very good at stopping the deep ball. And, the Bucs have really lived and thrived in third down, but it raises a lot of variance, I would say. If you live and die by third down, you can make these explosive big plays, but you can also fail, I think, to even get to that point. So, to me, I'd like to see, if I'm from the Bucs perspective, I'd like to see them passing a little bit more early on and having more success doing so.
What do you think is more likely? We see a Super Bowl performance that mirrors the first half like Tom Brady had in the NFC Championship game, bunch of touchdowns, or the second half, bunch of turnovers?
I'd say perfectly in the middle.
Come on.
I know, I'm going to split the baby. Because I do think Tom Brady has been playing better in the back half of the season. Really, the Bucs, their outing against Kansas City, that was the worst outing for the offensive line of the year, and that first half was probably Brady's worst half. I think he's better than that, but this Kansas City defense has a way of creating turnovers, and I wouldn't bet against them coming away with the ball at least once or twice.
What's your prediction for the game, Mina?
I'm going to be consistent with the pick I've had all week. Chiefs 31, Bucs 27.
That's way smarter than us. You could pick on different formats, different ways every time. You protect yourself, Mina.
No bet hedging around here. That's why she's the best in the business. Mina, we appreciate the time. Thanks. Enjoy the game.
Thanks, Mina.
You too, guys.
Awesome stuff from Mina. I've been very jealous of the views that we saw behind the NFL Live crew, behind the Sunday Countdown crew, and so we decided that we would get as close as we possibly could.
Well, especially since we're both essentially snowed in Connecticut, so this gives you some level. You know how much Mike already loves the snow, and it's a reminder that it's nicer in Tampa. It is interesting, Mike, because there is this moment of this game, particularly, I think, that is going to feel different than any Super Bowl, not just because of COVID, but the ancillary effect of that is that not only is Tampa at home, but this was a normal work week for the Chiefs. They didn't come in until yesterday. So the Chiefs are really treating this like a normal away game. So the distraction of being in the Super Bowl city, the distraction of figuring out tickets, gone. Like, I think we have a shot at seeing a more normal played beginning of the Super Bowl simply because all of these other things haven't been there. It'll feel like a regular game to the guys on the field.
Well, that's usually the thing you're trying to account for, especially in those first couple of drives. And here, and we heard from the bets guys before, Tom Brady not leading his team on a scoring drive in the first quarter seems insane right now, but the level of execution, and I think that's been consistent. We remember going back to week 1 of this season, execution's been a lot better than expected in these circumstances, and I think so much of it has to do with increased ability to communicate on the field and a little more, like you said, normalcy in situations. I know that sounds crazy to say in 2020 or 2021 that we've been used to.
But let's also acknowledge this is the first time in NFL history we've seen the home team have a losing record. It was close, 127, 128, and 1. So that tie really kept it out. But it shows you the home field advantage. Like in any other year, being at home for the Super Bowl, you think, man, we got this. But this is going to be a tough one. It doesn't help them. So we've heard the picks. I mean, we'll let you go first. Mike, you're bigger than I am. Who you got in this one?
Yeah, I've got the Kansas City Chiefs on this one. I actually had, and this is on ESPN.com, so I didn't just steal it from her now. I've got Chiefs 31-27 in this game again. I think when it all comes down to it, the Chiefs are a cliche destroyer, right? Football's supposed to be won. Defense is supposed to win championships. Control the line of scrimmage, you can control the game. Tampa is going to control both lines of scrimmage more often than not in this game, but too much skill, too much speed. Patrick Mahomes' ability to work both under duress and when they're down. Like when they played in Week 12, they were up 20-7 at the half. They did the thing the Chiefs aren't even that accustomed to in the postseason. They were out with a lead, so I shudder to think, should they find themselves in the position that they actually want, down in the Super Bowl to Tampa Bay, curtains. Give it to the Chiefs.
Well, and I'm going to agree with you. I'm taking the Chiefs, but not as politely as you and Mina have. I think this is going to be a blowout. And this is not a statement against Tampa Bay, who I think, yeah, they've got a lot of great pieces. But if you decide you're going to stop Tyreek, then Kelsey's going to get his. I think Kelsey's going to end up being a contender for the MVP in this game. And realistically, we saw the Chiefs win a Super Bowl last year against a better defense than Tampa has in a game where Mahomes didn't play his best until the fourth quarter, and they still came out with it. We're going to have a different version of Patrick Mahomes because that pressure is different. When you're repeating, but you've already been there, everybody feels comfortable. The marriage, as we keep talking about, between Mahomes and Reed is just so, it's there right now. They're in such sync that I just don't see anybody shutting them down.
You mentioned the pressure. I think we've got to kind of account for inflation in this spot because you're right. That was the full complement of the Chiefs' offensive line against a better defensive front. And Patrick Mahomes was pressured 20 times in the Super Bowl last year. It's the second most in a Super Bowl game ever. He's obviously going to be behind a reshuffled offensive line, and maybe JPP and Shaq Barrett aren't quite Nick Bosa in that group, but that is still potent, and we saw them give Aaron Rodgers hell in the NFC title game, so that to me is what keeps it closer in this.
But we're also talking about a Chiefs offense that's dominant in an insane way on 3rd and long. Like, I can't make it make sense. When you're playing against the Chiefs, you got them in 3rd and long, you're like, well, we're up a creek. Like, that's just the capability here. I do expect us to see some interesting play calls early from Andy Reid. He's going to have to shorten up the way they get the ball out of his hands for Patrick Mahomes. They're going to have to account for the fact that they do have a banged-up offensive line. So we could see some creativity early. A lot of screens, too, I think we'll see.
They do things naturally in that offense that are going to help out those offensive tackles, slow down those edge rushers a bit. And as we saw this morning, great piece that Jeff Darlington was a part of there. Andy Reid is used to sourcing plays from wherever. When he was with Mike Holmgren and the Green Bay Packers, he got a play call and a play design from one of the guys in the janitorial staff in that building and used it in the games. Andy Reid is not afraid to push the envelope. We're going to see it early. You're absolutely right.
And by the way, I'm taking 41-28, my final score, but that's a game where there's a garbage touchdown that makes it feel closer. Like, this is that sort of game to me. I think the Chiefs are about to make a major statement. They remind me a lot of the Lakers in the bubble. When they were into it, you couldn't beat them. And then other times it just felt like they disappeared, right? They forgot about it. The Chiefs are going to show you how powerful they can be. At least that's my take for now.
Yikes. I'm going to say, you want to go and say that about Tom Brady in public, be my guest. Couldn't be me, Jason.
And we'll start the same way we ended. It was a fumble. There's no such thing as a tuck. He's Mike Golic Jr. I'm Jason Fitz. This has been Playoff Tailgate, delivered by Pizza Hut. We appreciate your time. Enjoy what's going to be an incredible Super Bowl, and thank you so much for letting us get you there. Thanks.